day.
All right, it's 5:30. Let's call to order. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay. Hearing of citizens? None? All right. We're going to move on to the filling of the officers' positions. This will be a roll call vote.
We need a motion to fill the vice presidency of the position as currently open.
I make a motion to nominate Carrie Freeman for vice president.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Any other candidates?
Anybody else like to do it? All right.
Member Deverona?
Yes.
Eckes?
Yes.
Tucker? Yes. Carpenter?
Yes.
Hatcher?
Yes.
Freeman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Next, we need a nomination for the secretary position.
I make a motion to nominate Christina Carpenter for the secretary. Support.
Any discussion? Anybody else want it? Nope.
Member Hatcher?
Yes.
Tucker? Yes. Carpenter?
Yes.
Freeman?
Yes.
Eckes?
Yes.
Deverona?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right.
Mrs. Charles?
Good evening, Dominique. Good to see you again.
You too.
All right. You've been through this process, so you know what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
I'll get
I
started
do.
with number one.
Okay.
What do you see as the role and responsibilities of a school board member?
I see the goal being you being out in the community, being active, being a positive influence, and being able to help as much as you can throughout the community and throughout the schools.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
What are the most essential skills for students to have when they graduate?
Being ready for the real world, knowing it's up to you to make things happen. Your parents are still going to help you, but you need to be able to figure out this is what you want to do after you graduate. You want to be able to provide by yourself, figure it out, and know they're still going to help you at the long run. But just be ready that the real world's different than just in high school.
Thank you.
Why are you interested in serving on the board during these challenging times?
I'm interested because I've always said I want to be the person I needed when I was younger. I want to be able to advocate for these kids. A lot of these kids need that one person. If I can be that one person, I want to.
Thanks.
Excuse me. After reviewing and discussing a significant issue, the board operates by majority vote. How would you handle the situation when the majority vote is different from your position?
If it was different. There's 6 different personalities. You have 6 different opinions, ideas, beliefs. But you're a team at the end of it, so you listen to all the reasonings, why they chose it, why they didn't choose it. You accept it, you move on, and you support it.
Thank you.
Hi. At times, you may be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be differences between your personal point of view and the policy or law you must uphold as a trustee. How will you handle this?
I think that plays in an everyday factor of my job. I follow LARA licensing, so there's a lot of things I guess I don't necessarily understand, but it's for the bigger picture, the well-being. So I accept it, I figure out why, and I just follow it.
Thank you.
Hi, Daphne. Describe your response if a parent or concerned citizen cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
This does happen. There's obviously a chain of command you have to go through. As a parent, I do get a little hot on topics, but I get it's happening for a reason. But I do want someone just to listen to me, let me vent a little bit, and then I explain that I can help get through it, but there's other people I have to go through first, and then help them figure it out after that, after we go through each person, each step we need to go through.
Okay, thank you.
If you faced a challenging issue as a board member, raising taxes, cutting staff programs, what kind of data would you need to help you decide?
Knowing all of the facts, knowing this is exactly what happened, it's not just what someone said or what may have happened, getting every detail I need to make that decision, make that choice. Okay.
What is your understanding of a board member's role regarding the superintendent's responsibilities?
I think the school board member does more of being out in the community, getting an idea and bringing it to the superintendent so that the superintendent can put it into perspective, make it happen, because you guys are out in the community more, doing everything day to day, and he's helping make that happen afterwards.
Thank you.
Working effectively with other school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with other members of the leadership team?
I see it as a very important role. As a business director now. I'm in that position, and I have actually a board ahead of me. So communication is huge between us, and I think it's huge everywhere you go. So making sure that, I just lost my focus, making sure you are able to follow those directions, communicate with each other, and get everything you need to help each other out.
What is your vision for the education in this community?
My vision is I want it to be everything these kids deserve. They are starting to get back to what they were. I want the education to help teach them you don't solely have to leave high school and go straight to college, knowing there's other things you can be doing. That there's teachers, there's counselors, there's everyone there to help them. But I wish some of them would push forward more and let those kids know that they're there for them, that they want to help them succeed.
Thank you.
If appointed to the board, would you seek re-election when the appointment expires?
I would. I have kids in the system for at least the next 18 years, so yes, I would be.
All right, this concludes the interview. Do you have any closing comments that you'd like to share with us?
I know I'm familiar with it, but I've been here. I just want to be able to be there for the kids. I'm there every day in the school system already. I'm in the community already, and I just want to be able to make all of the things they need kind of try and happen with the support of the rest of the community.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, Chris Payne.
Good evening, Chris. I'm Rob Eckes. I'd like to thank you for showing interest in being on the board.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to ask you 12 questions and answer to the best of your ability.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll start here. What do you see as the role and responsibilities of a school board member?
I think the responsibility and role really comes down to guiding the school district and the community as to the advancement of the education system for the students. right? In addition to providing support for faculty, of course, which really guiding not only curriculum, but activities and how we envision the school existing.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Chris. I'm Christina Carpenter.
Nice to meet you.
What are the most essential skills for students to have when they graduate?
I would say the most essential skill is problem solving, critical thinking, right? The ability to take data and information and combine it to come up with a good outcome or a good decision, which applies to any career, any life situation. I think that's the most critical. And secondly, is communication skills. Like many careers, many situations in life are going to come down to how well you can negotiate a situation with people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, I'm Jeff DeVerona. Why are you interested in serving on the board during these challenging times?
Yeah, I think two things. One, this is my home. I chose to move back here. I'm from Otsego originally, not from Dowagiac. My wife's in Vicksburg, so in the Southwest Michigan area. I joined the military and moved a bit, and then I moved for work, both Minneapolis, lived in Seattle for a while. And then when the pandemic, I got to work remotely, so I could move anywhere. And we still chose to come back here. So this is my new home, and Southwest Michigan has always been my home. And I have children in the school system. My daughter graduated 2 years ago. She's now a sophomore at Michigan State University. My son's a freshman in high school here. So I have to have a vested interest, right, in both their education, as well as their friends and their family and their kids as well.
Thanks.
Chris, Tracy Hatchett. After reviewing and discussing significant issues, the board operates by majority vote. How would you handle the situation when the majority vote is different from your position?
Yeah, I handle that every day in my day-to-day life. I mean, I talk to a board of directors on a bi-weekly basis. They don't always agree with my opinion. I do cybersecurity for a living. So I give them information around risks and give them good information, let them make their decisions. They certainly don't always agree with me, but at the end of the day, that's the role, right? You have to live with that, or it's not really the appropriate place for you. Right? I serve on a couple other boards as well. It happens all the time.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Chris. Stephanie Tucker. At times, you may be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be a difference between your personal point of view and the policy or law you must uphold as a trustee. How will you handle this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. It comes down to, personal ethics and morality versus policy. I would hope they're not typically opposing from each other. But at the end of the day, the law is the law and the rules are the rules. They don't have to agree with them to follow them, right? Something, obviously, I was in the military, so you can learn how to deal with that.
Hi, Chris. Carrie Freeman.
Nice to meet you.
Describe your response if a parent or concerned citizen cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
Well, I think my response would be, depending on the issue, is one, ask them their concern, what their concern, what their point of view is, thank them for their time. Certainly it is not the place of anyone in a advisory board position to give feedback in that situation or make any kind of promises or decisions, but really certainly want to make them feel heard, that I listen to them, that I care about their opinion, I'm empathetic to their position. But it's really an information gathering exercise at that point.
Thank you.
If you faced a challenging issue as a board member, such as raising taxes, cutting staff, or programs, what kind of data would you need to help you decide?
Yeah, I think the first one is really what problem we're trying to solve. Like what's the issue we're trying to solve with taxes? Is that the right way to solve it? Is that the only way to solve it? Or some alternate solutions? And then really building that use case of why that's the right choice. What are those data points? What's that tax look like? Who's it impact? And making sure that when we institute new taxes and new liability on the folks, that they're the ones benefiting from that in some capacity and they understand why. Right? You don't have to agree to their question, or as long as they should understand why we're making that decision and ultimately what's that problem we're trying to solve.
Thank you.
What is your understanding of a board member's role regarding the superintendent's responsibilities?
So I think the board is the oversight of those activities amongst others, right? Faculty and student agenda.
Working effectively with other school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with other members of the leadership team?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, personal relationships are important to build trust, to build communication, to make sure we understand where we're all coming from. One of the things you obviously want is diversity in thought, and really understanding where we all have our opinions, where they come from, really builds that communication channel, that trust, so you can have healthy relationships and healthy debate. We don't have to agree to still, at the end of the day, be able to work together.
Thanks.
What is your vision for education in this community?
I think it's Dowagiac Union Schools really has an opportunity to be a destination for education. There's a lot of really smart students here that have a lot of opportunity. And there's certainly some, I'm a tech guy, so I'll say modernization opportunities we can dig into. Certainly, I'll talk your ear off all night on that. But really, I think the vision is to make this a destination for education. This is somewhere where you want to move your family because there's a high, graduation rate, a high acceptance rate into large universities, popular universities. Obviously, military service is close to my heart too. So a place where you want to bring your kids because there's activities in town, the Chamber of Commerce activities, the opportunity to get scholarships, the opportunity to meet, I would say, athletic ability with scouting, right? That we have those opportunities for students, and that's what would be my vision. Like, how do we make this that?
Thank you.
If appointed to the board, would you seek re-election when the appointment expires?
Yes.
All right, this concludes the interview. Do you have any closing comments you'd like to share?
No, just thank you for your time. I know it's a hard decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Good evening, Rand. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
What do you see as your role and responsibilities as a school board member?
The roles and responsibilities of a school board member start off by bringing information forward, both good and bad. We need to improve the things that we can improve on. We also need to take credit for the things that we are doing right.
So I think information and transparency are the two most important things to bring forward to the board. It's also our responsibility to look out for the best interests of not only the students, but the community, the parents, the staff, and the county in itself. So as a school board member, we not only represent the town, the school itself, but we also make a representation out into the world on who we are within and what we do within the county as well, and even statewide.
Thank you.
Hi, Rhiannon.
I,
What are the most essential skills for students to have when they graduate?
I would say probably people skills and interactions have to be important because you have to learn to get along with all walks of life. And schools allow that. We see everybody from the richest to the poor, everybody comes to school. And they learn to interact with children, with adults, with coaches, with other parents. And that's important when you go out into the real world. After you're grown up, you get your first job, you need to know how to communicate with different types of people.
Thank you.
Why are you interested in serving on the board during these challenging times?
It's because of these challenging times, I think we all have to come forward and offer what talents we do bring to the table. I do this not only in my professional world, but I also volunteer and offer a lot of assistance to the different entities within the county. I feel that it's our obligation to bring the best that we can do to our students, as well as our staff, parents, and to the residents of the county. We have to remember that schools not only play an important role for the children, but they also play an important role for the different age groups within the community.
Thanks.
After reviewing and discussing significant issues, the board operates by majority vote. How would you handle the situation when the majority vote is different from your position?
I believe that during the discussions, we all would have an opportunity to state our opinion. And if the majority rules that against mine, then we have to go with the majority. I've already had, I'm assuming, the opportunity to express my concerns or any type of issues, and so I would respect the board's decision.
Thank you.
Hi, Rhiannon. At times, you may be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be differences between your personal point of view and the policy or law you must uphold as a trustee. How will you handle this?
I believe that we have to, the rules are here for a reason. They're here to protect people, they're here to protect the students, and also it gives us in society a way to formulate opinions safely and everything. So I believe that ultimately I would probably want to follow all the rules because that's just my nature. But if for some reason, once again, going back to his question, if there's something that I don't totally agree with, I'm sure that we all have the opportunity to speak about it. But the bottom line is that rules you have to follow, and they're in place for a reason.
Thank you.
Hi, Rhiannon.
Hi.
Describe your response if a parent or concerned citizen cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
As a board member, we can't support or deny anything, but I do think it's important that we are active listeners. Just because, we can't come out and say, oh yes, I'm going to back you 100%. What we can do is listen and bring the concerns to the other board members, and I feel that's important. A lot of people just want to feel like they have been heard, that somebody has brought the issue forward. It's not a matter of support or deny, it's a matter of bringing the information to the board, letting them know that there's a concern in the community, and then going from there.
Okay, thank you.
If you faced a challenging issue as a board member, such as raising taxes, cutting staff, or programs, what kind of data would you need to help you decide?
But where I am employed, we actually went for a millage, and we were successful in a very difficult time. It was during the heat of COVID. I think the important thing to remember is explanation to the community and to the citizens of where you're going to do the tax increase or any other such things. We could ask for millages, we could ask for tax increases, but in order to do all this, we have to be transparent to the community. We also have to be clear. What is our vision? What do we need this money for? And most importantly, how is it going to help the students? How is it going to help the staff? And how is it going to help the community in itself? You have to wrap all those factors in to get the buy-in of the community.
Thank you.
What is your understanding of a board member's role regarding the superintendent's responsibilities?
The superintendent would be the equivalent of our administrator in my industry. And so we would want to support that person. That person runs the day-to-day issues in the running of the school. Ultimately, the board acts as an advisory to him, as well as a way to express what needs to be done and offer suggestions. He in turn would offer suggestions to the board too as well to see how he feels would be best suited to move forward.
Thank you.
Working effectively with other school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with other members of the leadership team?
We work in the county where the entity I work in, we work as a team. All decisions are made as a team. Of course, we have an administrator, we have a CEO who does have the final say in it. But even the day-to-day decisions are made with a team effort. Everybody is allowed to come forward, have an opinion, have ideas, lay it out, and usually in the end, the result is a mixture of everybody's opinions to make things move forward and be successful. So I'm well acquainted with the team approach, and honestly, I believe in it. I think it works better. It's kind of the difference between a corporation and what we do here for like a non-for-profit. At a corporation, you have people telling you what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. Here, we have the ability to speak freely. We have the ability to start investigating different ways to do things, and it's open, and it's transparent, and that's the most important.
What is your vision for education in this community?
Education isn't just about going to college, and that was something that I had to learn. It was always something that I aspired to, to get the kids to go. But I now realize, too, that not everybody wants to go to college. So what are we doing for every type of kid in this school? How are we preparing them for life itself? In other words, are there ways to get more occupations, to get them exposed at younger age to different occupations? And maybe that leads to them saying, I would love to be an HVAC person. And we try to help these kids get into these different occupations, give them experience in them at a younger age. Of course, we would love kids to go to college. So what are we doing to get them to college? How are we supporting them and their families to financially support these kids in going? It's very expensive to go to college nowadays. Are we offering them everything we can, every opportunity, whether it be scholarships? There's different scholarships out there. Some schools stack. Do we know which schools are allowed to stack scholarships, both academically and athletically? So we have to look at all points of how we're going to move this education forward in the future and what all kids need, not just the college-bound kids.
Thank you.
If appointed to the board, would you seek re-election when the appointment expires?
Yes, I would.
All right. Thanks, Ray, and this concludes the interview. So
Thank
do you have
you.
anything else you want to share with us before you
No,
go?
I'd just like to thank the board for seeing me again.
Okay,
Have a
thank
good
you.
evening. Thank
You too.
Thank you.
Hi.
Good evening, Wendy. I'm Rob Eckes. Thank you for coming here tonight, showing interest in being on the board. We're going to ask you 12 questions. I'll be starting here. What do you see as the role and responsibilities of a school board member?
Well, school board members are elected by the people. They're there to ensure that the schools are run, the kids are educated. You're supposed to look at curriculum. You're there to represent the people and to make sure that your educational system is up to par. And that means, superintendents work for the school board, and so it's the school board's job to pick a good superintendent, and the superintendent's job is to make sure that we have good educators and, that the guidelines or the expectations are being met and the kids' needs are being met.
Thank you.
Hi, Wendy. I'm Christina Carpenter. Thanks
Hi.
for being here. What are the most essential skills for students to have when they graduate?
Well, I have a unique educational experience because I moved every year. I was a new kid every year, and there was twice I was a new kid twice in 1 year. So I understand how things get missed in education, especially from school district to school district. Everybody's got different programs. A kid has to, I personally think an 18-year-old young adult, because they're adults, they're not kids anymore, they need to know their basic math, reading, they need to know their history of the nation. When I was in school, I had to learn the Constitution, or you couldn't graduate. And so I think you have to be proficient in reading, writing, and arithmetic. And then you have to have a good understanding of, I believe, your government and the founding of the country. And they need to be able to be independent and be able to make decisions and have a little bit of context, because life starts. My son went into the military at 18. He made a man's decision, and I think a lot of that, he had very specific goals. When he graduated, he knew what he wanted. So I think those are the things. They have to have a foundation. Because I've seen a lot of kids, I don't like to call them kids because they're adults at that point, they're young adults, but I've seen a lot of young people in college. And I went back to college in my 30s, so I have an interest, that's a little different view than many people get when they go to college. But when we did a lot of peer reviews, we're reading each other's papers, so I'm somebody in my 30s reading papers of, 18 and 20-year-olds. I thought, wow, I saw a lot of things that weren't what I kind of thought they were, and I was not a stellar student, but I was a good reader. And I thought, wow, if this is college level writing, I'm going to get an A, because, so I understand how things can get missed. And a lot of people get to college and they still have to take those, 100 level classes because they don't test out of them. And that's unfortunate.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeff Deverona. Why are you interested in serving on the board during these challenging times?
If not me, then who? I think a lot of people, we sit back and everybody has an opinion, and I'm guilty of this too, of not being as involved as I should have been. There's a lot of things that, people just think somebody else is going to do it, and at this point, do I really want to be on the school board? No. But do I think that I can do a good job? I know I can. But I think it's important. People need to stand up and not just have an opinion, but stand up and be willing to find some answers. So that's why I'm doing it, because I feel like I need to.
Thank you.
After reviewing and discussing significant issues, the board operates by majority vote. How would you handle the situation when the majority vote is different from your position?
My personal life, I'm an outside salesperson, so I'm a professional salesperson, and I get a lot of no's, okay? It's not personal. You win some, you lose some. That's just how it is. We have a system foundationally where we have majority rules with minority rights, and everybody doesn't, you just don't win them all. That's all. Make a better argument next time.
Thank you.
Hi, Wendy. Stephanie Tucker. At times, you may be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be a difference between your personal point of view and the policy or law you must uphold as a trustee. How will you handle this?
Look, the law is the law. Our system is set up that if we don't like the law, we as citizens, taxpayers, and voters have the ability to lobby and talk to our elected representatives to change those laws. But until they're changed, the law is the law. It is what it is. That's, I guess shorter than a legal case and jury nullification, that's, or a, ballot proposal, it's what it is.
Hi, Wendy. Carrie Freeman.
Hi.
Describe your response if a parent or concerned citizen cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
Well, I guess it would depend on if I had to rush home and cook dinner or not. Look, I think it's important to listen to what people have to say. Maybe depending on the time or the situation, I might just be like, you know what, I'm happy to sit down and talk with you. Maybe right now is not the time. But yeah, I think you have to listen at least, because everybody has the right to say, have their say, and especially when you're an elected person serving the public, it's your job to listen. You might not agree with them, but you do have to listen, and they might know something you don't know.
Okay. Thank you.
If you faced a challenging issue as a board member, such as raising taxes, cutting staff, or programs, what kind of data would you need to help in your decision?
Well, I think you have to really look at the hard numbers. This is how much revenue comes in. Taxpayers, especially right now, I can just tell you as a, resident of the city of Dowagiac, my taxes have gone up, and the trajectory, from what I understand, is going to keep going. So it's a difficult situation. Sometimes cuts have to be made. I think sometimes thinking outside the box, and sometimes people just don't do that. You come into a position and this is the way it's always been done. People are afraid to look at things differently, and I think sometimes you have to really you have to look at the numbers. Here's the revenue, here's the bill. How are we going to fill that gap? How are we going to make those two meet? And sometimes hard decisions have to be made. And raising the taxes is up to the voters ultimately. So I would say the job of the school board is to try to do their best that they can do and make an argument if they really feel like they need, a millage.
Thank you.
What is your understanding of a board member's role regarding the superintendent's responsibilities?
Well, I think I already covered that in my first answer probably, but the superintendents serve at for lack of a better word, the pleasure of the school board, okay? I think it's the school board's responsibility to ensure that we choose a good superintendent, and I think the superintendent has a job to do, but ultimately is answerable to the elected officials who are elected to oversee, the school system.
Working effectively with your school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with those members of the leadership team?
Can you repeat that? I can't hear you very well.
Yep. Working effectively with other school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with other members of the leadership team?
Well, I'm a critical listener, so I'm always, having been a corporate trainer in my past, communication is always difficult. That is the human condition, is message sent isn't always the message received. I think it's really important I see myself, I'm a critical listener. I tend to really ask questions to clarify, hey, I think this is what you meant, this is what you said, but did you mean this or did you mean this? So for me, I see myself listening critically, because that's what I do in my professional and my personal life, and to really clarify, to make sure that communication is, utmost and understood. So.
What is your vision for education in this community?
What is my vision for education?
Yes.
My vision would be that every graduate from the school is proficient in reading, writing, and arithmetic, knows their history, and has an understanding of the world that we live in today. And is ready, if they don't go to college or they're going to go to a trade school, that they're ready to go out into the world. That's my vision.
Thank you.
If appointed to the board, would you seek reelection when the appointment expires?
I do not know. So that would depend on the experience and if I really thought that I was bringing value.
All right, Wendy, thank you. This concludes the interview. Do you have any closing comments you want to share with us?
I did, when I read the letter that I was emailed to kind of give me the outline of what this would be like. I was just curious that I did say that statutorily that this position would be up in 2024 back on the ballot again. Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because would it have been on the ballot in 2024 anyway? Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. I just wasn't sure. And because I'm sorry to say this, but I meant to read your bylaws because anyway, I was going to read the bylaws because I didn't know if it was in there, if it was Michigan law, like how you fill vacancies. So I just wasn't sure when I saw that. I was like, okay, so does that mean you're filling this now? I wasn't sure what that meant. You're filling it now because this is the process to fill a vacancy?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is DeWajek's policy. It's not a state law or anything. It's DeWajek's policy that's written.
Okay,
For
no.
us to fill the vacant seat, but the seat term, it is law,
By law, we have to fill it
within 30 days.
Yeah.
And then by law, when the term is up, at the next regular scheduled election, all appointed seats have to be voted on.
Okay.
This seat would have been up in '24 anyway.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question. I was like, wow, okay, that was just kind of an interesting, I just wasn't quite sure what that meant.
Yeah, no,
really.
thank you.
Yeah, nope, that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Randy. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
You know the drill. Here it goes.
I do.
All right. What do you see as the role and responsibilities of a school board member?
I guess it would be like kids first. The children are my responsibility, and then advocate for the community. I think that's about it.
Okay.
I want to look out for my children, so I think this is the best way to go about that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Randy. What are the most essential skills for students to have when they graduate?
I think a lot of it is common sense. Not that they'll learn that in school, but I think that the tools that they learn throughout their years in school, they will use that in the future. So I think that the knowledge that they learn, and if they do like work-based learning, they can do things like that and gravitate more towards, they can use in the future.
Thank you.
Excellent. Why are you interested in serving on the board during these challenging times?
When my son passed recently, I started deciding that I wanted to look for being more active in the community and having a bigger role in what happens in my children's futures. So I think that's why I decided to try to join.
After reviewing and discussing significant issues, the board operates by majority vote. How would you handle the situation when the majority vote is different from your position?
I guess as long as I was heard and I got to voice my opinion, as long as we all collectively got together and came up with that decision together, I would be okay. I do know that my opinion differs than a lot of other people, so I don't expect me to always be right.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
At times, you may be caught between legitimately opposing points of view. There may be a difference between your personal point of view and the policy or law you must uphold as a trustee. How will you handle this?
Kind of similar to that last question. I think that as long as I was able to voice my opinion and I understood directly what the law and policy were, then I would be able to go with what is put in front of me. The policies are there for a reason, so that's why they're good to have.
Thank you.
Randy. Describe your response if a parent or concerned citizen cornered you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly hot issue.
I believe that people mostly just want to be heard, so I probably would listen to them and then ultimately let them know that, you can bring your concerns up at the school board meeting. I can't necessarily side with you because I can't voice my opinion out and say things that I would feel without being part of the board. So I would try to ultimately take them and tell them to come to the school board meeting so that their voice can be heard by all of us.
Thank you.
If you faced a challenging issue as a board member, such as raising taxes, cutting staff, or programs, what kind of data would you need to help you in your decision?
I feel like the most data that we could have possible so that we could get information out there on why we made that decision is always better. Whether or not it's my opinion or if that's what I wanted to do doesn't really matter as long as there's facts that balance out why we made that decision.
Thank you.
What is your understanding of a board member's role regarding the superintendent's responsibilities?
I do believe that the school board makes the policies, and then the superintendent is in charge of administering and letting staff and students know what is going on.
Hi. Working effectively with other school board members and the superintendent requires skills in communication and decision-making. How do you see yourself working with other members of the leadership team?
I think working as a team ultimately works out better for everybody because then you get difference of opinions and you get to talk it out and see what other people in the community think versus just your opinion. So I think having a balanced board of different opinions is good to have.
What is your vision for education in this community?
I believe that as long as kids leave with lifelong lessons and goals and achievements, they will hopefully do well in life. As long as they are learning and growing, I think that's the ultimate goal for all of our children. Doesn't necessarily mean that they need to go off to college and do things like that, but if they do work-based learning or go to VOTEC and learn something on the job, then at least they're helping the community. That's what my oldest son was going to do. He was going to go to be an electrician, so he necessarily wasn't going to college, but I do think college is a good option too. So as long as they're headed in the right direction, I think that's the way we need to go.
Thank you.
If appointed to the board, would you seek re-election when the appointment expires?
That's the goal.
All right, thanks, Randy. This concludes the interview. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the board?
Nothing other than I would really like to be a part of the board. That's why I'm here again.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Packet are your individual voting sheets. President, this meeting time, if you guys have any discussions.
All right. Does everybody understand how we're going to mark these? Jeff, you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. We collect these and then. Thank you for taking care of the candidates, Dr. Don.
You got mine, I think. Hopefully.
Yes? Thank you, sir.
I don't,
Okay. Again, three candidates, candidate H, candidate S, and candidate J, that very close. So what we would like you to do is, again, candidate H, candidate S, and candidate J, vote for two, please. Mark your top two, please. Ladies and gentlemen, the board of candidates H, S, and J, all three did receive votes. H and S are tied at 5 each, and J is at 8 points. Each received, candidate H received 5 votes, candidate S received 3 votes, and candidate J received 4 votes.
Wait,
People only voted for 2 instead of 3.
Voted for 2 each.
okay, I need you to say it again.
Candidate H,
Yep,
total of 5 points, received 5 votes.
okay.
Candidate S received a total of 5 points, was voted for by 3 board members. Candidate J received, was voted for by 4 board members and received a total of 8.
Okay,
So J was 8 points?
J was 8.
okay.
H and S, both 5.
Oh, I really can't listen to that.
So and again, candidate H had received 5 board members who voted for that candidate, and candidate S had 3 board members vote for them, and candidate J received, was voted for by 4. I would suggest some conversation. That would be my advice. Or this is your process. And then we would need to have some kind of separation. How you'd like to handle it, Mr. President. That is
All right.
Are you gonna make it?
All right, well,
I want to hear his opinion first. Do you want to like state your opinion, because I know you're struggling, or, and then you can maybe, I don't know.
I mean, my vote was for H, primarily because of the, like, clear passion.
Okay.
Mr. President, may I ask a question?
sure.
Two votes. To rank, the higher vote was to receive 2, and then the second will receive 1. What was your intention? Was H to be your high receiving vote or your second?
Well, are we going, is it between all 3 of those? Oh, I thought it was just the 2 that had 10.
No.
Of those 2, I was going with H. No, my highest was for J. Again, passion, persistence.
For J.
Yeah.
So for a miscommunication, then who would be so J would be your higher,
Yeah.
okay? Who would be your second?
H.
Mr. President, actually use the total. And
What?
would give a clear separation for H.
I didn't do it.
So now we'll just narrow it down to H and J.
H and J would be your final 2.
Okay,
Say 2 was for the higher one, right?
Okay.
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 That's what I did. Dude.
You're fine.
Mr. President, may I suggest a short recess?
Yeah.
Please.
Recess. Jonathan's math wasn't right first.
Where's my?
Call the meeting back to order.
Mr. President, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. I was looking at the tally sheet, and as I was looking at it, my brain was looking at you in the seating chart, but they're alphabetical. So if Jeff's vote was not changed. So we still have H and S with 5 points, and J with 8. So I would suggest some conversation, and then voting again between those 3. And we're gonna scribble out, and we'll use the same ballot, so you'll.
Okay, voting again to just get the top 2.
Top 2.
So discuss to try to come to a 2.
Yeah, H, S, or J. So if you need some, if you'd like to have some conversation, that's fine. If you go right back to voting, that is also fine. It's up to the board. Sorry for my mistake.
Okay, I guess we can start on the end. Tracy, you got anything you want to say about anybody, or you want to vote?
I'm going to stick to my guns.
Okay. Stephanie, yes, Carrie,
I'm reading
got
through
anything
some
to?
notes, thinking.
Okay.
I mean, I'm pretty solid on my 2.
Okay.
I will say that 2 of the 3 wore jeans, and this was an interview.
Okay.
That's a sticking point for me, so
Okay.
do with that what you will.
All right. Christine?
My concern is, when looking at the 3, coming into the board, most of us all have students in the system or family per se, but it's obviously bigger than that. So you gotta have the right reasons to come on. It's not just advocating for your own personal children. We have a whole community. And so that's a concern of mine.
Okay. Jeff? Good?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
for right now.
All right, well, we're gonna vote again and narrow this down to 2.
Mr. President, to try to help out our board member here, is anybody considering changing their ballot? If not, I have an alternative solution.
Well, at this point, when someone says, for example, Tracy says, I'm sticking to my guns, can we know like what those guns are?
No.
We can't even use letters?
Oh, yes, actually you could.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Good question.
Because like,
Using my brain.
You want me to reveal you my letter?
I mean, you could, it's just, yeah.
I mean, do you
It
have
would be
anything to
nice
say
to
we
know
haven't heard from you?
Who people were.
The 3 that we haven't narrowed down to were the 3 that I had in there.
Yeah.
the- Originally. I am, all 3 have, I think all 3 have good intentions. I mean, being different intentions, but they, I think they're all qualified for it too. I mean, I'd like to do the vote and see what everybody says.
Okay,
We'll see who our number 1 is off that.
okay.
So is the plan to use the ballot again?
Or just say our letters?
And that would be the alternate, is to name all 3 and then vote for your top selection. You could do it that way.
Can we do letters now and see if there's consistency? Since some people obviously got higher votes, so maybe or like a,
This is the board's, however you'd like to handle this. I would say if you're still in that discussion phase, I would use the letters out of respect for the candidate. And if you're ready for it, if you're ready to make the final, then
because clearly by the points, 4 people put 2 points on J. So 2 times 4 is 8, right? So that means J was 4 people's top choice.
correct.
Are we able to take the 2 that are tied and vote those down to get to 1 person, and then we would vote between?
You can literally do whatever you'd like to do to try to resolve this.
mean, we have two that are tied right now, so if we can figure out from there where we want to go and then discuss the two candidates that way, are we able to do that?
Actually, you could, yes, actually, you could do that. Just however the board would like to move forward.
Is everybody good with voting for H and S to go in the final vote against J?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
that works.
All right.
On our paper?
Oh,
Okay.
I'm ready. What do we just,
We're gonna go circle each, either H or S. Circle either H or S. Two for S.
Okay. So between H and J then now.
Yep.
Okay, see, that helps.
There you go. Okay, now do we want to vote on this, or do you want to have discussion? Or where are we at? I'm sure everybody's where they are.
Probably could vote.
All right,
Mr. President, would be appropriate to name the two candidates, and then board members will be roll call vote. You will vote for who you would like to see fill the vacancy.
okay, we've got it narrowed down to Dominique Charles and Randy Taggart.
No discussion.
Anybody? Okay, I think we're
I
just,
mean,
gonna-
I feel like they both have a strong desire, and they both showed that.
they did both show up.
all right. This is a roll call vote? Okay.
Just don't make it three to
Put your hand on your face. Don't pick me, don't pick me.
Oh. I'm torn between them both. Charles.
Who?
Christina Stender.
Like, I thought you said last name, sorry.
Taggart.
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 All right. Well, that was interesting. It's always a tough decision. They were all pretty good candidates.
Yes.
Dominique was definitely a great second, and she should definitely run in the next election cycle. So, I'd like to, she's not here tonight, but I'd like to thank Ruth Ozra for her 13 years of service on the board. Those of you that are watching this on YouTube, if you see her in public, you should thank her for what she's done for the community and for our students. And we wish her well in her future endeavors. Motion to adjourn?
Second.